It is my privilege and great honor to welcome our distinguished speakers and members of the discussion panel on unanswered questions of the Polish governmental plane crash of the 10th of April 2010 in Smolensk in Russia. First of all, I would like to present to you the Honorable Antoni Macierewicz, former Minister of Interior, former Deputy Minister of National Defense, former Chief of Military Counterintelligence Services, well-known activists and organizers of opposition forces in communist Poland, historian and currently chairman of the parliamentary group to study the crash of the Polish governmental plane Tu-154M. I have also a great pleasure to welcome experts of the parliamentary group from the United States, Dr. Juris Maria Szonert-Binienda, attorney and noted lawyer, president and founder of Libra Institute of Cleveland, Ohio, writer and journalist, specialist on questions of unsolved war crimes from the World War II, like the massacre of Polish officers in Katyn Forest in 1940, and also president of Polish Kresy and Siberia Foundation in North America. I also welcome Dr. Kazimierz Nowaczyk, professor of University of Maryland at Baltimore, Maryland, physicist and noted specialist of data processing and measurement systems in biochemistry and in physics. Dr. Nowaczyk is author and co-author of many scientific papers. Let me welcome also Dr. Wiesław Binienda, professor and chairman of the Department of Civil Engineering, University of Akron, Ohio. As distinguished specialist in impact engineering, application of numerical methods in mechanical and aerospace engineering, author and co-author of many publications, and also reports prepared for NASA. He is a fellow of American Society of Civil Engineers and currently serves as the editor-in-chief of the American Society of Civil Engineering Journal for Aerospace Engineering. Please give our guest a warm welcome to Ottawa. I would like also to welcome all of you coming from different sectors, representative elected bodies, including the House of Commons. I'm not sure, but I have to read it. Members of public service of the Government of Canada, including Transport Canada, Industry Canada, Foreign Affairs, National Defense, members of the Ottawa academic community, specialists from industry. I welcome also representatives of Diplomatic Corps in Ottawa, especially from Embassy of Latvia. We hope that this meeting will enhance our understanding of the complexities surrounding the crash of the Polish governmental plane, in which Professor Lech Kaczyński, President of Poland, and his wife Maria were killed, along with 94 other people, representing the very elite of the Polish society. Among the victims were commanders-in-chief of all Polish armed forces, NATO generals, parliamentarians from all different portions of the Polish parliament, civic leaders, and other members of the official delegation that was to pay a tribute to the victims of Katyn massacre in 1940. Among them also the members of families of victims of Katyn massacre. Let's stand up and pay a tribute to all victims of the tragic crash of April 2010 by the minute of silence. organizing of this event, Dr. Bogdan Gajewski, an aeronautical engineer, president of the Ottawa branch of the Association of Polish Engineers in Canada, to chair this panel and introduce its topic. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Dziękuję bardzo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As a professional engineers of Ontario, we were tasked with very difficult work. First of all, as we understand, after each accident, which happens, normally there is a group of professionals being assigned to investigate the case. Living in a democratic society, we expect from the government transparency and we expect fairness. We expect that investigation is free of political influence, and we expect that conclusions from any accident is being served for safety of all people. That's our fundamentals when it comes into investigating any accident. If we'll be in a fire, we've got a fire marshal checking what was the cause of the fire, and an accident on the road as well. As many of you probably were witnessing, police was closing the street, asking people to wait until the investigation will be carried out and proper documentation being done. Same we expect from accident in aviation. So, for comparison, I'd like to show how things are being done in Canada. And this is a snapshot of the Transportation Safety Board of Canada. It was aviation report done in regard of a Swiss Air accident in Peggy Cove in Nova Scotia. This report, which is published with all details, it's one of the best reports ever done in aviation history. And for all interested people, I'd like them to pay attention to this report. That's an example of rebuilding the cockpit because, as probably most of you remember, it was a fire already during flight, and then aircraft went into water. Each piece of aircraft was taken out and rebuilt in a hangar in order to provide a good investigation in this case. What I'd like to point here, that each item was examined by the Transportation Safety Board of Canada with RCMP personnel with assistance from a large supporting team, supporting specialists provided by Boeing, Swiss Air, and SR technicians. Other investigation agencies, companies, and organizations provided additional specialists as requested by TSB. For example, NTSB, which is American equivalent of Transportation Safety Board of Canada, FAA, which is Federal Aviation Administration of United States, United Kingdom Air Accident Investigation Branch, Swiss Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, French Bureau of Investigation and Analysis, and Airline Pilots Association, Pratt & Whitney, and other companies. So, what I'm trying to say here, that in such investigation of this scope, agencies who were conducting this investigation, they asked a lot of different agencies to help them out, which is crucial when we're looking into investigation being carried out by Russian investigation. over 350 people participated in the wreckage sorting, examination, and investigation activities at Sherwood. Okay, so this is the last flight of Tupolev 154N from Warsaw to Smolensk. This is a crucial moment of accident. On this slide, it shows that left wing of aircraft was turned from aircraft, and then it led directly to the crash. And this is a famous bird, which supposedly to be hit by the wing of aircraft, causing a departure of the part of the wing. And this is a close picture. Now, in Russian report, the diameter of the tree was given as 30 to 40 centimeters. It looks that nobody went up and measured the diameter of the tree. And that's very important because for when you measure diameter, so difference between 40 and 30 centimeters is almost double in square root of this tree. What we see on this slide, we see aircraft coming here. That's accident with the tree. Slowly turning off. It's 90 degrees, 180, and almost upside down, hitting the crash site. The white line here, that's the proper line approaching runway. So we see that aircraft was on the left side to the runway. This is one of example how accident site was mishandled. You see here that's the part of the wing, and suddenly on this picture here, difference between two pictures are 1 day. So suddenly here we got a new part. It's not there, but suddenly on this picture we see it already existing. That's how the wreck is being put aside on one of the locations at the airport, and that's remained as is for today, only covered with some sort of the blanket. So that's all from my side right now, and just for organizational issues, washrooms for ladies will be on the left-hand side on this corridor, for men on the right-hand side. And after presentation, we'll have 3 presentations. And after that, we'll have a panel. We'll sit all together in the front, and we will take questions. Now, for some people who will be having difficulties to address their concerns, we'll have an envelope here with the paper. So we will collect questions, written questions, and then we will post them on the website to answer them. Okay, so right now I will be giving the mic to our distinguished guest, Antoni Macierewicz. Please welcome.
I think that proceeding to uncover the truth and cause of crash has been hampered by the Russian side seemingly wanting to spread lies about the crash and rock any clarification. Most active in keeping truth under cover are Russian Federation Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, Russian Vice Secretary of State Ivanov, and Tatiana Anodina, head of MAK, Russia-led investigation commission of some post Soviet republics. Since the first hours and days after the crash, the Russians imposed their rules, which deprived the Polish side of any overseeing. As early as at 11 a.m. on April 10, 2010, Alexander Morozov, head of MIT Technical Commission, phoned his Polish counterpart and demanded that investigation into the crash of Presidential Tu-154M be proceeded along Attachment 13 to Chicago Convention. Russians violated the Polish-Russian Agreement of 1993, which regulates conduct of military aircraft catastrophe investigations, wherein Article 11 states that a joint two-state commission shall be established by the two states' competent agencies. In this case, defense ministers of Poland and Russia. Here you see the text of Article 11. Explanation of incidents, aircraft failures and catastrophes of Poland military aircraft in the airspace of the Russian Federation, as well as of Russian aircraft in the airspace of Republic of Poland, shall be conducted jointly by competent Polish and Russian organs. Both parties shall give each other access to indispensable documents while observing standing rules of state secrecy. On this basis, on April 13, Russian PM Vladimir Putin gave ordinance, thereby vesting MAK with investigation into the Smolensk crash and ordering implementation of Attachment 13 to the Chicago Convention. It was also then that a EU and NATO experts offered to take part in this investigation into the crash was turned down. Here you see this fragment of MIT report which said, on the basis of ordinance by Vladimir Putin, it was decided that investigation should be conducted according to Attachment 13 of the Civil Aviation Convention. Such decision was approved by the government of the Republic of Poland. Application of such a legal basis meant putting entire blame for the course of events on Polish airmen because, according to civil aviation rules, it is for pilots to decide whether to land or fly away to some alternate airport. Military rules say differently. That means that they put a landing decision into ground controller's hands, and it is ground controller's right and duty to close down airport for bad weather as well as to name an alternate airport. Agreeing to Attachment 13 means agreeing to Russia's hosting the investigation, the collecting all evidence and making an accident report. Here you see the way in which the Russians were acting with Russia violated the 1993 Polish-Russian agreement, which had them responsible for delivering meteorological data, securing the airport in the navigational aspect as well as general organization, and rendering rescue services. Russian traffic controllers did not decide on closing the airport, notwithstanding the meteorological conditions in which a Russia-owned U-67 aborted its landing operation. Russia did not launch any rescue operation. The Smolensk ATC controllers did not sound alarm to all airport rescue squads the instant they got news of crash. They mobilized non-airport rescue squads as late as 10 minutes from the crash. The first medical rescue squad arrived on the stand 17 minutes after the crash. More squads as late as 29 minutes after the crash. The rescue operation was halted before it was known that victims had died. It is most shocking that Russians did not even try to rescue anyone, assuming that not a single soul of nearly 100 survived. That means all died on the instant. This assumption underpinned all official documents. However, an error was made in the timing. Documents were marked 10:15, meaning the time of crash, just like the original Russian version had it. However, eventually, the crash was timed as 10:41. Yet, death certificates timed 10 hours, 15 minutes have stayed to this day. In conclusion, although the original version had all passengers dead on impact at 10:15, they may have lived 9 more minutes. Immediately after the crash, Russia fabricated and published a version of events which accused Polish pilots, particularly General Andrzej Błaszczyk, of the catastrophe. The charge was based on forfeited evidence whereby General Błaszczyk exerted pressure on the pilots for them to land notwithstanding appalling weather. Further, the charge pointed out to chaos in the cockpit and lack of experience of the pilots who relied on wrong instruments, sheared a birch tree with the left wing and brought entire delegation and themselves to destruction. The Russians were misleading the Polish crew. Russian ATC controllers intentionally gave bad runway visibility. Russian ATC controllers did not give other necessary meteorological data of the airport, or they were giving untrue data. Russian ATC controllers were misleading the crew, ascertaining that the aircraft was on course and glide path, where actually it was above glide path and and when it descended below glide path when 2.5 kilometers from runway threshold. Russians were destroying pieces of evidence, including the aircraft wreck. Russians did not inspect the site of crash thoroughly. Russians did not secure the site of crash from unauthorized persons. Russian soldiers were destroying the wreck on the crash site. Russian soldiers exposed the wreck to more destruction, leaving the wreck for many months on the tarmac without any cover. Russian abstracts examination proceedings and a prosecutor's investigation. The Russian side snatched bodies of victims to Moscow and made autopsies without consent and presence of the Polish side. Autopsy records of victims were falsified. Russia grabbed from the crash site means of communication and electronic devices. To this day, not all devices have not been returned to Poland. To this day, Russians have not delivered to Poland nearly 100 documents which are key for explanation of the catastrophe. Here we will see some of them, if it will be well. Oh, excuse me. Actually, I don't know why it was, but really, please. Oh, some problem. But the 100 key documents were not given to the Polish Commission up to date. Crucial in overcoming the Russian version of the crash was an expertise of 18th January by Krakow-based Forensic Institute. It has states that General Blasik did not enter the cockpit at all, that the barometric pressure read out of 100 meters came from the co-pilot and was followed by Captain Protasiuk's command, go around, as he earlier announced they would do with the use of autopilot if unable to land. Not less important is that the expertise undermines the theory whereby the aircraft's wing hit a birch tree, allegedly initiating the disaster. Actually, the sound on the flight recorder's tape, which MAT assigned to the strike against the tree, turned out to be of objects moving in the cockpit. Here you can see what was right in the Mac version of the black boxes, commission of the Miller, and now Institute of the Krakow. This same words which were ascribed to the Blasik in reality were words of the second pilot, Colonel Grzywna. And here the second problem, the main problem of this catastrophe, this same sound which MIT identified like a sound of the hitting trees, this bilge. In reality, in expertise of the Krakow Institute, are unidentified sound or the last one, object, sounds of the moving object which we can hear to the end of the recording. Conclusions. The conclusion of the Krakow Institute complies with those of Professor Binienda and Professor Nowaczyk, and it states that the pilots correctly planned and executed the go-around maneuver from 100 meters above airport elevation. So, the catastrophe was not caused by the bilge or pilot error or pressure from the superiors of the pilots. Second, the true causes of the disaster, Russians adopted enough legal basis to absolute control of the proceedings, investigation, and most pieces of evidence, as well as disseminated, the Polish pilots guilt for Smolensk catastrophe, known in Poland as Smolensk line, by resemblance to cutting line. The underlying of this Smolensk line, that means General Blasik's pressure and heating a bilge, have been debunked by aforesaid Krakow Institute of Forensic Expertise, as well as by researches of Professor Nowaczyk and Professor Binienda. In today's legal situation, only an international commission can disclose the mechanism behind the death of Polish president and Poland's civic and military elite. Thank you.